speak from my gut, and really not have anything prepared, but just tell you what's worked for me.
Before the Hollywood blockbusters, before the millions of fans chanting his name, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was just another young man staring at failure. His football dreams had collapsed, he was broke, and with only $7 in his pocket, his future seemed uncertain. Yet from that crushing low, he carved out one of the most remarkable comebacks in entertainment history. From the roaring arenas of WWE to commanding the biggest franchises in cinema, The Rock's rise was nothing short of extraordinary. But how does someone go from eviction notices and shattered dreams to becoming one of the highest-paid actors on the planet? How did a man once rejected by football turn into a global icon whose charisma electrified the world? This is the untold story of pain, resilience, and the unstoppable force known as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne Douglas Johnson was born on May 2, 1972 in Hayward, California, into a family where wrestling was more than sport. It was tradition. His father, Rocky Johnson, was a trailblazing professional wrestler who broke barriers as one of the first black champions in the WWF. His mother, Ata Maivia, came from the legendary Samoan Anoa'i wrestling dynasty, a bloodline that included icons like Peter Maivia and the Wild Samoans. Wrestling, it seemed, was in his DNA. Yet behind the legacy of fame, young Dwayne's early years were marked by turbulence. The family moved constantly as his father pursued wrestling opportunities, and financial stability was often out of reach. At just 14, he experienced the sting of eviction, forced to leave their home in Hawaii with nowhere to go. That moment, watching his mother cry as their belongings were hauled away, left an indelible scar on him. School life was equally challenging. Standing over 6 feet tall with a muscular frame as a teenager, he was frequently mistaken for much older, attracting suspicion and mistrust from teachers and classmates. But sports became his refuge. Football offered him discipline, structure, and hope. By high school, he was already a standout athlete, and with his talent came a chance for a brighter future, a scholarship to the University of Miami. For the Johnson family, it looked like Dwayne was finally breaking free from a cycle of struggle. At the University of Miami, Dwayne Johnson seemed destined for greatness. A defensive lineman on one of the most dominant college football teams in the nation, he helped the Hurricanes secure a national championship in 1991. But just as his star was rising, injuries derailed his momentum. Johnson found himself sidelined, watching as teammates, many of whom would go on to NFL stardom, took the spotlight. After graduation, he refused to let go of his football dream. He signed with the Calgary Stampeders in the Canadian Football League, determined to claw his way back to the NFL. But reality hit hard. 2 months into the season, he was cut from the roster. Alone in Canada, he lived in a tiny apartment, sleeping on a discarded mattress, and surviving with just $7 in his pocket. It was, as he later described, the lowest point of his life. Depression nearly consumed him. Yet instead of surrendering, Johnson turned to the legacy of his family. His father and grandfather had both been wrestling legends, and though his father initially resisted the idea of Dwayne following in his footsteps, Johnson was relentless. In 1996, he debuted in the World Wrestling Federation as Rocky Maivia, a smiling, clean-cut babyface, but the audience rejected him. Crowds chanted, "Die, Rocky, die!" His second dream seemed destined to collapse just like the first. What no one knew was that this rejection would ignite the transformation that created a wrestling icon, the birth of The Rock. Reinvention became Dwayne Johnson's weapon. Shedding the forced image of Rocky Maivia, he embraced a new persona. The Rock, a brash, cocky, larger-than-life character who thrived on charisma and confidence. Suddenly, the boos turned to cheers. Audiences hung on his every word as he delivered electrifying promos filled with catchphrases like, "Finally, The Rock has come back," and "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" Within a few short years, he rose to the top of the WWF, headlining WrestleMania, winning multiple world championships, and becoming one of the most beloved wrestlers of all time. But The Rock wasn't satisfied with just conquering the ring. Hollywood came knocking. In 2001, he appeared in The Mummy Returns as the Scorpion King, a small role that stole headlines. The following year, he starred in The Scorpion King, earning $5.5 million, setting a Guinness World Record for the highest salary for a first-time leading man. Over the next decade, Johnson carefully balanced action-packed thrillers with family-friendly comedies, proving his versatility. But his career exploded into a new stratosphere when he joined the Fast and Furious franchise in 2011. As Luke Hobbs, a relentless federal agent, Johnson injected fresh energy into the series, helping it transform into one of the most successful film franchises in history. His on-screen presence was undeniable. Audiences around the globe couldn't get enough. Hits followed one after another: San Andreas, Rampage, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and Disney's animated sensation Moana, where his performance of the song You're Welcome introduced The Rock to an entirely new generation. By the mid-2010s, Johnson was no longer just a wrestling icon. He was Hollywood's most bankable star. In 2016 and 2019, Forbes named him the highest-paid actor in the world. With annual earnings surpassing $80 million, the kid who once faced eviction now stood atop the entertainment industry, commanding blockbuster paychecks and drawing billions at the box office. From the squared circle to the silver screen, Dwayne Johnson had cemented himself as a global phenomenon. Even for a superstar like Dwayne Johnson, the road to glory was never without turbulence. His departure from WWE at the height of his wrestling fame in the early 2000s sparked outrage among die-hard fans. To them, The Rock had abandoned the ring that made him famous, choosing Hollywood glitz over loyalty. Chants that once celebrated him turned into accusations of sellout. Hollywood itself offered no easy welcome. For every box office hit, there were stumbles. Films like Baywatch, 2017, were mocked by critics and struggled at the box office. His long-hyped DC superhero project, Black Adam, 2022, was meant to redefine the genre but fell short of expectations. Despite his relentless marketing and passion, the film underperformed, raising questions about whether Johnson's star power could carry a cinematic universe on his own shoulders. Then came the headlines about feuds behind the scenes. His clash with Vin Diesel during the filming of the Fast and Furious franchise became a tabloid spectacle. Johnson took to social media with cryptic posts, calling certain male co-stars candy asses, fueling rumors of division within the so-called Fast family. Fans debated loyalties, with some praising Johnson's professionalism, while others accused him of fracturing a billion-dollar franchise. His personal life also brought challenges. Johnson's marriage to Dany Garcia ended in 2008 after more than a decade together. Yet in a rare Hollywood twist, the two managed to maintain a strong professional relationship, with Garcia continuing as his manager and guiding his career to new heights. Still, the scrutiny of his personal relationships became regular tabloid fodder. But perhaps Johnson's greatest challenge was the constant weight of expectations. Being the hardest worker in the room became his mantra, but also a burden. Every misstep, every underwhelming project, risked tarnishing a carefully built image. And yet, instead of crumbling under the pressure, Johnson used each setback as fuel for his next reinvention. For Dwayne Johnson, setbacks weren't endings, they were invitations to reinvent. After weathering box office disappointments and public scrutiny, he doubled down on his core philosophy: outwork everyone. With his production company, $7 Productions, named after the $7 he once carried, Johnson took control of his storytelling. The company quickly grew into a powerhouse, producing films, TV shows, and documentaries that reflected his vision and discipline. At the same time, he embraced a new role: motivator and cultural icon. Social media became his stage. On Instagram, he shared workout routines at the Iron Paradise, behind-the-scenes glimpses of his film sets, and deeply personal reflections on struggle and perseverance. Millions followed not just the movie star, but the man who turned vulnerability into strength. Johnson also expanded beyond entertainment. He launched Terramana Tequila, which skyrocketed into one of the fastest-growing tequila brands in the world. His collaboration with Under Armour for the Project Rock line further solidified his status as a global brand. These ventures weren't side projects. They were proof that his charisma and drive extended far beyond the big screen. Through it all, Johnson cultivated an image of accessibility. Despite his fame, he remained the man who remembered sleeping on a discarded mattress, the underdog who fought back. In reinventing himself, he didn't just rebuild a career, he created a legacy of resilience, proving that failure is never final. Today, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stands as more than a wrestler, more than a movie star, more than an entrepreneur. He has become a symbol of resilience and reinvention. From eviction notices to box office records, from being cut from a Canadian football team to headlining billion-dollar franchises, Johnson's journey is one of the most unlikely and inspiring transformations in modern entertainment. His legacy is not only measured by championships or film revenues, but by the millions he has motivated. Fans see in him the relentless drive to turn failure into fuel, to never accept defeat as permanent. His story reminds the world that setbacks are stepping stones, not dead ends. Dwayne Johnson has proven that strength is not just about muscle, but about character, the grit to rise after every fall. His life is living proof that no matter how heavy the burden, no matter how bleak the moment, resilience can rewrite destiny. Dwayne, "The Rock" Johnson's journey is proof that even the hardest struggles can pave the way for the greatest comebacks. Like, share and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories.